cleared his throat for what I recognized as his family announcement posture. Around the dining table, my mother straightened in her chair. My brother Kevin looked up from his phone, and his wife Jessica stopped mid-conversation with her water glass halfway to her lips. Now that we're all here, Dad began, his voice taking on that authoritative tone he'd perfected over 40 years of running his accounting firm, your mother and I have made a decision about the house. The house. The 4-bedroom colonial where I'd lived for the past 6 years, ever since Grandma Dorothy passed away and left it sitting empty. The house I'd poured $200,000 of my own money into renovating. New roof, updated electrical, modern kitchen, refinished hardwood floors. The house where I'd built my life. This house belongs to the whole family, Dad continued. It's been a Mercer family property for 3 generations. And we think it's time it served the family's needs properly. I set down my fork carefully, already sensing where this was heading. Kevin and Jessica are expecting their second child, Mom added, her voice bright with forced cheerfulness. And their townhouse only has 2 bedrooms. They need more space. Kevin grinned, leaning back in his chair with the confidence of the golden child who'd never been told no. We've been looking at houses in the area, but everything's either too expensive or needs too much work. Then Mom and Dad reminded us that this place is just sitting here with you rattling around in it alone. Rattling around, I repeated quietly. You know what I mean, Jen, Kevin said. You don't need 4 bedrooms. You're not married, no kids. This house is wasted on just one person. Jessica jumped in, her voice taking on that syrupy sweetness she used when she wanted something. We take such good care of it. And you could get a nice apartment somewhere. Something more your size, more manageable. Wouldn't that be easier? Under the table, my phone was already in my hand. I pulled up my attorney's contact and typed, "They're making their move. Stand by." The response came immediately. "Eviction notice is ready. Just say the word." "We've discussed it as a family," Dad said, using the royal we that really meant he and Mom had decided without consulting me. "And we think the best solution is for you to move out by the end of next month. That gives Kevin and Jessica time to sell their townhouse and gives you plenty of time to find a suitable apartment." "End of next month," I said. 6 weeks. "It's very generous, really," Mom said. "We know moving is stressful, so we wanted to give you adequate time." Kevin was already on his phone, swiping through what looked like furniture websites. "I'm thinking we put the nursery in the room you're using as an office. The master bedroom is obviously ours. And that sunroom you converted? Perfect playroom." "You've really thought this through," I observed. "Of course we have," Dad said. "This is a family decision, and we're all in agreement that this arrangement makes the most sense for everyone." "Everyone except me." Dad's expression hardened slightly. "Jennifer, don't be difficult. This house is a family asset and it should go to the family member who needs it most. Kevin has a growing family. You have a career that keeps you traveling half the time anyway. It's simply logical." Logical. That was Dad's favorite word. Everything reduced to cold logic, balance sheets, efficient resource allocation. Never mind that I was the one who'd lovingly restored this house. Never mind that I'd lived here for 6 years, paying all the utilities, taxes, and maintenance. Never mind that Grandma Dorothy had left very specific instructions. "What about Grandma's will?" I asked. Mom waved her hand dismissively. "The house was left to the family trust. We're the trustees. We have the authority to make these decisions." "Interesting interpretation," I said. Kevin looked up from his phone, his eyes narrowing slightly. He'd always been able to sense when I wasn't rolling over as expected. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just that you seem very confident about the legal situation." "We've consulted with our attorney," Dad said firmly. "Everything is in order. The house belongs to the family trust, and as trustees, we have full discretion over its use." "That's final." Jessica was already pulling up paint colors on her phone. "I'm thinking a soft sage green for the nursery. Very calming. And we'll need to update those light fixtures. They're a bit dated for our taste." The light fixtures I'd spent 3 weeks researching and another $5,000 installing. The custom fixtures that perfectly match the home's 1920s character while providing modern LED efficiency. My phone buzzed. "My attorney, I'm assuming they don't know?" I typed back. "Not a clue. This is going to be good. Want me there in person or should we handle this remotely?" "Remote is fine. Send the documents to Dad's email." CC Mom and Kevin. Done. Sending now. I set my phone face down on the table and picked up my fork, taking a deliberate bite of pot roast. It was actually quite good. Mom had always been an excellent cook. Might as well enjoy it while the family dinner still had a few minutes of normalcy left. You're being awfully quiet, Jennifer, Mom said, her voice taking on that warning tone. I hope you're not going to make this difficult. I'm just processing, I said truthfully. There's nothing to process, Kevin said. This is what's best for the family. You're always going on about being a team player at your company. Well, this is you being a team player for your actual family. Team player, I repeated. Right. Dad's phone chimed. He glanced at it, then frowned. Email from some law firm. Probably spam. You should open it, I suggested mildly. It can wait until after dinner. We're having family time. I really think you should open it now, Dad. Something in my tone made him look at me sharply. Then he picked up his phone, tapped the screen a few times and began reading. I watched the color drain from his face. What is this? He said, his voice tight. Mom leaned over to read the screen. Kevin's phone chimed next, then Jessica's. The simultaneous realizations spreading across their faces would have been comical if the situation weren't so serious. It appears to be a notice of eviction, I said calmly. From me. As the legal owner of this property, I'm formally notifying all of you that you have 30 days to vacate the premises. Owner. Kevin sputtered. You're not the owner. The family trust. The family trust owns the property at 428 Riverside Drive, I interrupted. This house, however, is 428 Riverside Court. Different property. Grandma Dorothy deeded this house directly to me 8 years ago, well before she passed away. It's been in my name the entire time. The silence was absolute. Dad was scrolling frantically through his phone now, his face growing redder. This is impossible. The trust documents. The trust documents refer to the old property on Riverside Drive, which Grandma sold in 2015. She used those proceeds to pay off the mortgage on this house and transfer it into my name. Your attorney never caught the discrepancy because you assumed this was the same property. It's not. You've been lying to us for 8 years? Mom's voice was shrill. I haven't lied about anything. You never asked who owned the house. You assumed it was in the trust and I never corrected you because frankly, it wasn't your business. I pay all the bills, all the taxes, all the maintenance. This is my house. Kevin was on his feet now. This is bullshit. Grandma would never cut us out like that. She didn't cut you out. She left you each $50,000 in her actual will, which you both received. She left me this house because I was the one who spent every Sunday with her for the last 5 years of her life. I was the one who drove her to medical appointments and stayed with her through chemo. I was the one who held her hand when she died. Where were you, Kevin? Oh, right. Too busy with your important sales conferences. That's not fair, Jessica said weakly. What's not fair is walking into my house and announcing you're taking it from me. What's not fair is spending 6 weeks planning to kick me out without even asking if I wanted to leave. What's not fair is treating me like a problem to be managed rather than a person with rights and feelings. Dad had found the deed documentation now. I watched him read through it, his lawyer's mind processing the ironclad legal reality. You had the deed recorded 8 years ago. You've been paying property taxes in your name. Correct. The renovations, all that money you spent. My money. My house. My investment in my property. Mom was crying now, but they were angry tears. How could you deceive us like this? I didn't deceive anyone. You deceived yourselves by assuming you had control over something that was never yours. And tonight, you revealed exactly why Grandma was right to leave this house to me instead of putting it in your precious family trust. Kevin slammed his hand on the table. You can't just kick us out. We live here. You visit here for Sunday dinners. You don't live here. I live here. Alone. In my house. Which I'm now asking you to leave. This is insane, Jessica said. We had plans. We were going to list our townhouse next week. Then I suggest you rethink those plans. Dad's attorney brain was working overtime now, looking for angles. You can't evict us. We're family. We have a reasonable expectation. You have no expectation, I cut him off. And if you'd like to challenge this in court, I have an excellent real estate attorney who's been preparing for this conversation for 6 years. Grandma knew you'd pull something like this eventually. That's why she made everything bulletproof. 6 years. Mom whispered. Grandma changed the deed in 2017, 2 years before she passed. She told me then that she knew Dad and Kevin would try to treat this house like a family asset to be redistributed at will. She wanted me to have security, a home that was truly mine. She made me promise not to tell you until you forced my hand. I looked at each of them. Well, you forced it. Kevin was scrolling through the eviction notice now, his face going from red to pale. This is legally binding. We have to be out in 30 days. That's correct. Though technically, since you don't actually live here, you could leave tonight. What about our things in the basement? Jessica asked. You have 30 days to collect them. After that, anything remaining becomes mine to dispose of as I see fit. Dad set down his phone with exaggerated care. Jennifer, let's be reasonable about this. We can work something out. Perhaps we can purchase the house from you at fair market value. Not interested. Or we could arrange a long-term lease situation that benefits everyone. Still not interested. You're being incredibly selfish, Mom said. This house should serve the whole family. This house serves me. I live here. I work here. I've built my life here. And you just tried to take it away from me because you decided Kevin's needs matter more than mine. He has children. Mom protested. And that's his choice and his responsibility. I'm not obligated to give up my home because my brother decided to have another kid without first securing adequate housing. Kevin's voice was dangerous now. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's a fact. You think you can cut us out of your life? Fine. But don't come crying to us when you need family support. Kevin, I said quietly, I haven't had family support in years. You've made that abundantly clear. Tonight just made it official. Dad tried one more time. Think about what you're doing. You're destroying this family over a house. I'm not destroying anything. You tried to take my home and I stopped you. Those are very different things. The dinner ended shortly after that. Kevin and Jessica left first, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the new windows I'd installed last spring. Mom left in tears, Dad following with his jaw set in that stubborn way that meant he was already plotting his next move. I sat alone at the dining table, looking at the half-eaten pot roast, the fancy place settings Mom had insisted on, the floral centerpiece Jessica had brought to brighten up the space. My phone rang. My attorney. I've been listening to the recording, she said. I'd given her permission to access my phone's audio during dinner. That went about as expected. They're furious. They'll get over it. Or they won't. Either way, your property rights are secure. The deed is ironclad, the eviction notice is legally sound, and Grandma's estate was settled years ago. They have no standing to challenge anything. Kevin threatened me. Vaguely. Nothing actionable. But I'd recommend you change the locks tomorrow just to be safe. And maybe install a security camera system if you haven't already. Already have cameras. Installed them 3 years ago. Of course you did. You're a smart woman, Jennifer. Your grandmother knew what she was doing when she left you this house. After hanging up, I walked through the rooms slowly. The living room with its restored fireplace and original mantel I'd spent weeks stripping and refinishing. The kitchen with custom cabinets and the vintage-style range that had cost a fortune but cooked like a dream. The sunroom I'd converted into a reading nook, lined with built-in bookshelves and flooded with natural light. Every room held my work, my money, my vision. This wasn't just a house, it was my home. The home I'd created. The home my grandmother had wanted me to have. In her bedroom, the room I'd left largely untouched except for fresh paint and new curtains, I found the letter she'd left me. I'd read it 100 times since her death, but tonight I needed to read it again. Dearest Jennifer, it began in her elegant script. If you're reading this after what I think has happened, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your father and brother couldn't see past their own needs. I'm sorry your mother chose to support them over you. I'm sorry you had to stand alone. But I'm not sorry I left you this house. You earned it with every Sunday visit, every conversation, every moment you chose to spend with an old woman when you could have been doing anything else. You earned it by seeing me as a person, not just a resource. This house is yours. Never let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting what's yours. Family is important, but so are boundaries. So is respect. So is reciprocity. Stand firm, my darling girl. I'm proud of you. I always was. I folded the letter carefully and returned it to its place in my bedside drawer. The next morning I changed all the locks. I also changed the security codes and updated my will, leaving everything to charity. My family wanted to contest that someday they were welcome to try. Dad called 3 times that week. I didn't answer. Mom left tearful voicemails about family healing and moving forward together. Kevin sent angry texts about betrayal and selfishness. I blocked them all. 6 months later, I was having coffee on the sunroom when my doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Aunt Linda, Mom's sister, the one family member who'd always treated me like a person rather than a pawn. I let her in. I heard what happened, she said, settling into my reading chair. Your mother is still furious. Kevin won't stop complaining at family gatherings. Your father is convinced you'll eventually see reason. And you? She smiled. I think Dorothy was brilliant. And I think you were incredibly patient to wait 6 years before asserting your rights. Honestly, I'm impressed you let them have Sunday dinners here at all. Those are ending too. This is my home. I'm done sharing it with people who see it as an asset to redistribute. Good for you. She sipped her coffee. For what it's worth, I told your mother she was wrong. I told her you had every right to protect your property. She didn't want to hear it. Thank you for trying. Family is complicated, Aunt Linda said. But you know what? Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is establish clear boundaries. You did that. You protected yourself. Don't ever apologize for that. The house belongs to the whole family, Dad had announced. But he was wrong. The house belonged to me. The person who loved it, maintained it, invested in it, and had the legal